Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to the Little Reader's House. It is Tower Tuesday. We have a more traditional setup today for technical reasons, and also because it has been wild in the ether today. The amount of technical issues I have seen, the amount of interpersonal communication, just unexpected developments that I've seen. The energy is just wild out here. It also feels very thinly veiled. So if people are sending you psychic messages, or if you have been receiving funk or gunk or just anything unexpected through the ether, you're not alone, beautiful soul. You are right here with the family, and it is happening to me too. So we've changed up the setup. We're going to make it happen one way or another. So I'm so glad you're here. I've got a deck with no nudity on it set aside for our tarot portion of the reading, and I've got the Archetypes deck set aside for our, and I don't think there's any nudity in this deck, set aside for our first part of the reading. So we are going to start by asking this beautiful Tower Tuesday what it is that Spirit is removing from our energy and from our field and from our life, and what Spirit is bringing in. So Spirit, please show us what is being removed from the beautiful soul that is watching. It could be about a specific situation or just generally speaking. I once had a very amusing and challenging physical fitness trainer who would yell at me as I hauled around a ski sled filled with weights on it. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And that stuck with me. So whether you're focused on one situation or you're looking at everything, the micro and the macro are usually very intertwined. So you can expect to see similar areas typically in all areas of your life, even if you are laser focused on one situation. It's kind of like a micro reflection of the macro. And I have a feeling that's going to be a theme of our reading today. So Spirit, please show us what is being removed and what is being replaced on this Tower Tuesday. Right off the top, here's what's being removed. Ooh, the Artist. We'll look a little closer at that in a moment. And what's being replaced? God. Ooh, the Divinity. Back at the deck, interesting. Midas and the Miser. Okay, so let's peek this back of the deck energy. Let's see if I can get a focus going on here. So with the Midas and the Miser, the light attributes entrepreneurial or creative ability to turn anything to gold, delight in sharing life's riches, and in the shadow, hoarding money and emotions, obsessive fear of losing your wealth. So it looks like the divine and Spirit is reorganizing our priorities this week, starting with the Artist. So this is what is being removed. The light would typically be expressing a dimension of life that's just beyond the five senses. So you could be capturing poetry and art, darling. But unfortunately, any energy can slip into shadow. And that's not hugely unfortunate. That's actually how we get to know an energy completely, is by integrating both the light and the shadow. But it seems this week, Artist vibes may have taken a little bit of a hold on our shadow side. So we have using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as the starving artist to elicit pity, but we're going to talk more about this. And in its place is the light attribute of God, benevolence and compassion, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. So let's talk about this a little bit in terms of the Midas and the Miser back of the deck energy here, because that seems to be a theme between these two. With the Artist, it's not just about putting paint on paper. Something that Spirit is saying here is it's taking on a storytelling narrative and believing that we know the why behind everything, and believing that we need to find out the why behind everything and paint a picture of what our life is. And I think this can become a little bit pervasive, especially in our spiritual community, because knowledge is so hungered after. There's this idea that knowledge is power, but something that Spirit often reminds me of is that knowledge is a stepping stone to power, but experience is power. And knowledge without having the experience to implement it into or using it for something and giving it a purpose can be draining. It can take away our life force energy. So rather than paint ourselves a story and get deep into who we think we are and what we are and try to hyper focus the canvas to look like what we want it to look like because of where we think we've been, Spirit is bringing in this energy, straight up divine, godly wisdom, godly insight. This idea of benevolence always reminds me of a just leader. I'm hearing one who makes sacrifices, but a sacrifice made from a place of true value alignment is never really a sacrifice. It's something that we do to gain not a material, but a spiritual benefit. So it's a huge perspective shift that we're having this week, going from this artist to the God lens. And I believe what we're seeing here with the Midas Miser component is we are going to, this week, understand that wealth and riches aren't always explainable, is the word I'm being given. Because in the spiritual community, once again, we've moved beyond the idea that wealth and riches have to be tangible. We're well beyond that at this point. We're like, we know. It's not about, the money. It's about the heart. It's about who I am. But in many ways, we have transferred our riches, our gold, into the non-physical dimension. So now what we're hoarding is how much we've suffered. Now what we're hoarding is the stories we tell about how much of a victim we've been, or how much we've overcome on the other side, or how we've painted ourselves is what I'm hearing over and over again. The ways that we've painted ourselves is what's shifting, and we're getting a bigger picture view. We're not going to be hoarding our experiences. We're not going to be hoarding our traumas. We're not going to be waving our flag that we've painted, or a picture about our identity or our story. This week, we are shifting into the bigger picture. And with artists and painting as a theme and pictures, I can see that this imagery is a huge theme. This week, beautiful soul, prepare to go into the mirror and see yourself differently from a bigger picture perspective. Prepare to look at photos that you take with your family over the holiday season, or past photos, and see yourself not as an individual with a story that's been created, an identity, and be hyper-focused on your own personal truth and your own personal narrative. Be prepared to go objective with it and see life more as life is, instead of what we typically do, which is see life as we are. This is a huge paradigm shift, and it actually fits in really, really well with the collective 2024 energy that has been stirring and brewing and rattling and preparing to burst forth. Actually, we're kind of already 1 foot into it and have been for months, but that is coming, and expect a reading on 2024 energies. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know so I can get started on it ASAP. Another thing that you can do while we're here in December, the best month of the year, because it's my birthday month, is you can book a 20-minute reading for $20 with me, one-on-one, private, your own video for the month of December only. So that's another thing we're doing as part of this shift, if you're looking for more objective insights into your life. But once again, knowledge without an experience to apply it to is just an energy drain on our system. So before you come seeking out a private or personal reading, think to yourself, what would you use it for anyway? It's worth asking. So, Spirit, back of the deck, Exorcist. Naturally, with a theme of God going on here, of course we followed up with Exorcist. That just flew out, but this is sort of an exorcism of our storytelling. This is an exorcism of small-mindedness. This week, we're going to see exactly how it's going to unfold and how it's going to pan out, but it's really a shift in the way we experience life, because it's a shift in the way we experience our mind. So I'm going to set the Midas over to the side, and we're just going to kind of take these out of the frame for a little bit while we welcome in Kim Kranz's Wild Unknown Tarot, I think. Is that what this is called? I've been using this deck for years and have so many Kim Kranz decks, but I'm not sure. I think it is called the Wild Unknown Tarot. So how are you doing, beautiful soul? Body, mind, and spirit, how are you? How have the Tower Tuesdays been catching up to you lately? What have you been experiencing? Your stories make these readings come alive. Have you found a situation that was sugar-coated and now it is crystal clear? That was the theme of last week. Have you seen something from a new perspective? Has someone pulled your eyes into a new light in a specific situation? I believe that was the week prior. What has been opening up for you? What are the themes as you reflect? We're getting closer and closer to that new January 1st fresh start that we all love. So what have you learned? I'd love to hear it. What gifts do you have now that you didn't January 1st, 2023? Tell me everything. I love the tea. So Spirit, tell us, what in the world is this energy about? How are we going to see it manifest? How is the beautiful soul who's watching going to see this manifest for them this week, starting today? Here it is. The Three of Wands. Let's get that nice and lined up. Three of Wands clarified by the Nine of Cups. Wow. Okay. Whoa, another three. Three of Swords. Oh, hey, it flew. It is the Son of Cups. Three of Swords clarified by the Son of Cups. That would be the Knight of Cups. Make sure we didn't flip anything over. Ooh. Next we have the Five of Wands. This has been coming up in readings all day, beautiful soul. It's a theme. Clarified by the Four of Wands. Wow. Something comes into harmony big time. We've got the Daughter of Wands clarified by Temperance. Speak of harmony, this one wants to come off the top of the deck. That's the Mother of Wands. Wow. Clarified by the Lovers. The Lovers in this deck is one of the most beautiful cards I've ever seen. And if you take a gander at this, these particular birds, I believe they're geese, mate for life. This is made clear in the deck guidebook. But I love the Lovers. I love the Lovers in this deck. It adds a lovely, no pun intended, colorful flair. So let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with, okay, Sound of Music off. Telling the story on. Starting with this Mother of Wands that wanted to leap out of the deck. The Mother of Wands is all about magnetism. The Mother of Wands is all about resting, and I believe Kim does a phenomenal job of illustrating this in the deck. But it's all about resting and waiting and simply being magnetically attractive to that which you desire. And this is a week of rest, but of fiery rest. So in other words, Spirit says, you rest and I'll do the rest. You sit back and lay on your nest of eggs and apparently a stick, and let Spirit do the organizing and the sorting for you. This is kind of a piece of advice. It comes off as a side to the spread, and it's an outlier in color. But we're going to revisit the concept again with the Daughter of Wands. And I think it's very interesting and relevant that in this deck, the Page has been renamed to the Daughter. It creates a balancing energy of dual feminine, dual masculine in the court cards, and it gives a special relevance to this dynamic. So let's talk about it. Starting at the beginning of the week, plans are falling into place. Plans that I think weren't previously counted on. And if we look at the coloring here, it reminds me of a watercolor version of this artist card. Except in this artist card, we see that everything has been drawn into squares. So if you look closely at this, you'll see that everything that this artist has painted has been extremely masculine, if you will understand this term not to mean manly. It's not a gender term when I use it that way. Let's say more yang, projective. This is a logical, left-brained concept with all of the squares. So with this approach, it's almost as if our mindset has been believing that things were going to get sorted out in a very specific way, the way we had planned it. After all, the concept here is that up until now, we've been thinking, I'm the storyteller, right? Like, law of attraction, manifestation. I tell the story and things go the way I want. And this is kind of a shake-up, beautiful soul, in the I am the storyteller, I am the designer of my life approach. We get the plans coming to fruition, but with this Three of Wands, it's all the same colors, just in watercolor form. So throw away all those squares. This is a much more feminine, and when I say feminine, I mean receptive, I mean yin. So again, not gendered, just a different quality of energy. Whereas masculine is associated with projective attack, femininity is associated with receptive receiving, which I think is that's the word twice, receptive receiving. What can I say? Not an English major, darling. But with this watercolor, everything's still coming into fruition. Everything's still coming together in your week, and with great emotional success. With the Nine of Cups here, we see, and also interestingly with a waning moon, we see that although things may be winding down and there is a decrease in drama, there's a decrease in, again, this yang quality that has been going on for the past weeks or months or even longer, there's this nice emotional fulfillment that comes with it. So it's like you'll be taking your foot off the gas and letting things flow. And flow is a wonderful thing with both the Mother of Wands and the watercolor component here. The Mother of Wands, although she is a fire element, is thought to have a connection to the element of water as well. And I believe she is considered the most watery of the non-water queens, and the non-water queen would be the Queen of Cups. So Mother of Wands still has a flow element because we're receptive, we're passive. Even though we've got fire and charisma, we are in a receptive attitude. So we move forward in the week with a second three. Now threes are all about our collaboration and our communication. And this day has already been giving heavy Mercury retrograde vibes. I don't know what Mercury is up to. Haven't chatted with Mercury in a while, so I don't know if it's retrograde right now. But I do know that this Three of Swords is reminding me of miscommunications, of a little chaotic, frenetic sort of energy. And in this particular instance, it looks like some disappointments. But these disappointments are not, they're genuine, but they're not the type of disappointments that cripple you for more than a few hours. This is the disappointment that comes with realizing that maybe we don't know everything. And yet when we're supported by the Son of Cups as a clarifier in the upright position, there's still positivity to be gained here. So we're having some disappointments. We're getting a little bit shaken up as we realize, oh, things are panning out. I can just relax. Things will still happen. That's our Three of Wands. But then we get this Three of Swords. Oh, it didn't go the way I wanted. I wasn't perceived the way I thought I'd be perceived. That meeting or that gathering or that friend group or that party or that thing I said, it kind of eats at me. But with the Son of Cups and the Knight of Cups being the Son of Cups, it's okay. It brings with it a worthy offering. It brings with it an opportunity to introspect, to see, okay, who do I want to be? And how do I become better than that? So Spirit is relaying this important idea, which is, if we are always striving to be who we want to be, not that there's anything inherently wrong with that. It's beautiful to want to be the best that we believe we can be. But Spirit is saying right now, oh, I just put my hand in her little hand. Spirit is saying right now, bigger picture from the godly perspective, or from God's eyes, if you believe in God as a figure, or simply God the divine. From Spirit and God's perspective, there are many layers and many versions more to us than we can even imagine. And in a way, going for the best and trying to manifest the best, whether that's a person, place, or thing, and trying to be the best, although it's commendable to continue staying in our lane and putting in our work, we're still limiting ourselves because we can't see all that there is. We can't see the entire picture. We can't see the entire vision. So Spirit encourages us in this lane as we get into the week, Wednesday, Thursday, just about onto Friday, to begin taking in any disappointments that we've had, taking in any tough conversations that we've had, taking in any challenges that we've had, and start to reframe them like this. I don't need to take this data and optimize a game plan and strategize how I'm going to show up better and be better on a bullet pointed list. Instead, Spirit says, let's lean into emotional intelligence. Let's lean into the subtle yin, relaxed approach of just allowing ourselves to align with the highest truth in any given moment that we find ourselves in. So let's say we have a tough conversation on Friday night. Maybe we have a social gathering. It doesn't quite go the way that we were hoping that it would. Maybe it was a little bit awkward. Maybe everything didn't just quite flow. Future us says, okay, I'm gonna optimize this. Next time I'm not gonna invite that person, or I'm not gonna bring up that topic, or I'm not gonna, and we start to get into a rumination. We're like, no, the person I want to be vibrationally would have brought this and wouldn't have said that and would have been a little bit more loving. And Spirit is saying, not this week, baby. This Friday night, when this happens, we're going to give ourselves complete and utter grace. We're going to give ourselves the cup of love. We're going to offer ourselves a new opportunity in the moment and say, what story am I telling myself right now? How can I choose to tell no story? Because old us would have said, how can I change the story to a better one? New paradigm, 2024 kind of stuff. I'm just not going to tell any story. I'm just going to be with the truth of this moment. I didn't like how that went. I feel weird right now. Let me have a cup of tea, bask in it, call up a friend, exchange that I don't like that was weird, get total validation, and then go on with the rest of my day. Go to sleep, wake up Saturday morning, and a lot of things are going to kind of be up in the air with that. With our 5 of Wands, anytime that we change a story or eliminate a way of thinking, we get a little shaken. We rely on having a personality and a story and an identity to find our place socially in this world. And it's not that those things aren't important, and it's not that we're trying to eliminate them completely and be above identity. No. One very intense mushroom trip one time showed me that you don't want to be beyond identity in this world and still try to function as a part of it, unless you're trying to be a saint. And that doesn't always go very well for the saints. We need our identity. We need our ego. We need our form. So things will fly up into the air for a bit. There will be some internal chaos and confusion, but it's going to land into place beautifully, beautiful soul. In fact, look at the way these two things go. Starting on Saturday when you're waking up in the morning after whatever occurs this week. Check out how everything's kind of up in the air for a bit and you're wondering, who am I? What am I? Where am I? Why am I? What was it the little reader said? And then you're landing, boom. All the sticks fall into place. It's like they're airborne here, and then when they land, it's on this portal, which to me kind of looks like an eye. Looking forward into looking first of all, presently into where you are, and then as a result of being so present, being able to see forward into where you'll go. And where you'll go is the 4 of Wands, ultimate success, satisfaction, celebration, most importantly, celebration of you. Also, look at all these, I want to sing blurred lines, but they're not blurred. They're just lines. I just wanted to bring Robin Thicke into the thick of this. Wow. Somebody get this girl not a coffee. That is not what we need right now. Probably a pillow. It's been a long day, baby. All these lines, sorry. All these lines, they're not blurred, but they're all over the place. Look at that. They're crooked. They're, I want to say vehement. I guess they're mad. They're crossed. But here, everything's aligned perfectly. As a matter of fact, all 4 corners balanced. We've got earth, water, fire, and air, all perfectly aligned. So it falls into place effortlessly. It doesn't require your machinations. That's what Spirit's saying. It doesn't require my machinations. It doesn't require your machinations. We are not the artist. No, that is the Tower Tuesday moment of this week. My beloved, we are not the artist. Not you, nor I. My uncle used to have a great saying. Well, he still does, as a matter of fact. I just haven't heard him say it since I was like 13. But he used to say, who can see the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the tree falls on your head, you know the wind is passing by. Love that, man. Shout out to Uncle Orison. That's kind of how Spirit's framing it to me right now. I'm serious. As cute as that is, who can see the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the tree falls on your head, you know the wind is passing by. We are really out here thinking we're painting a picture. And really the greatest truth is the ingredients that we're working with. It's not what we put on the canvas. So Spirit's asking us to get godly, to get divine, to get back to the source. Look at the raw materials that we're working with and be with them unconditionally this week. Be with who you are unconditionally this week. Let's go back to this Daughter of Wands energy. Well, we'll go back even though we've never been. We talked about it briefly, but we never went there. Let's go there. With the Daughter of Wands sitting over Temperance, the daughter's not the queen, right? And the queen's not the emphasis, the empress. If we're going hierarchy and we're going to slam down some social judgments and we're going to tell people what's what and we're going to bust out the playbook and throw down the hierarchy and start sorting people by what makes us good and bad, what makes us rich or poor, what makes us pretty or ugly, then we could throw away this whole spread because there's no empress here. There's the Daughter of Wands. She's humble. There's the Mother of Wands. She's great, but she's only a queen. Then there's the Empress. We can't do that. There's no Empress on this spread, and yet if we were going to point and start talking about roles, we really have no ground to stand on. Spirit, what is it that you're trying to say in a simple way? I know it's clicking, but I want to say this in the way that sends it home, especially for my tired mind at this moment, Spirit. Spirit says we've been trying to play by a playbook. We've been trying to find our way in the social hierarchy. We've been trying to find our place on the food chain. So we've been looking around saying, who's a Daughter of Wands? Who's the Mother of Wands? Who's a page? Who's a queen? Who's an empress? Where do I fall on this list? Is that person empress? How do I be like that? Spirit's saying we've been trying to find our place on the food chain, but in a way, the joke's on us. Not that Spirit would ever make a joke at our expense. It's something we're laughing at too in other dimensions, in that higher perspective, that God perspective. The joke's on us, though. There is no food chain. So there doesn't need to be an empress in the spread. There is no comparison. We're the Mother of Wands and the Daughter of Wands simultaneously, and the Empress simultaneously, and the Emperor, and the Father, and the Son. We're all of them at different times on different days, everything, everywhere, all at once. And there's no need to compare, contrast about where we were yesterday or where we're going to be tomorrow. This idea of looking to the past, once again, to paint the picture of where we're from. Like, where have I been? This is my identity. I've done it all. I've seen it all. Wouldn't you like to know my story? As if we were trying to sell ourselves professionally, personally, or even just to ourselves, looking at the mirror, composing, putting paint over our face in the mirror, as if we're making something. And Spirit's saying, not anymore, baby. Spirit does call us baby sometimes, through this mouth. What we're doing now is we're sitting with ourselves exactly as we are. If we're a Daughter of Wands today, we're a Daughter of Wands. We're not categorizing that, and we're not putting it in any hierarchy, and we're not sticking it on any food chain. We're sitting here and we're waiting. We're doing the exact same thing the Mother of Wands does, curled up with our stick. This one has flowers on it, though. That's really nice. And we're allowing ourselves to be in balance. Apparently, the stork is bringing something special. For some of you, you may find out this week that you have manifested a desired pregnancy. Congratulations. That message is specifically for individuals who gave up on it completely. There's an element of surrender here. Surrendering to all that is as it is, and letting the gifts come and the balance come as a result. This flame that rises up, and I believe that's a heron, not a stork, but nevertheless, the message stands. Once again, check out the line work here. Everything is aligned. Everything is receptive. This downward facing arrow is all about yin, receptive energy, and just receiving. Spirit says, stop trying to create something using the materials you have to make something new. Instead, honor the materials that are on the palette exactly as they are, because the raw materials are actually, see that watercolor there? It almost looks like the watercolor. The raw materials are the finished work. If you're angry, don't transmute that or work hard to transmute that into love. Be angry. If you're lonely, don't work to transmute that into empowered solitude. Be lonely. If you're happy, don't work to transmute that into aggrieved sadness, because that's going to be perceived better somehow. Be happy. And it goes beyond emotions. Wherever you find yourself socioeconomically, wherever you find yourself, I said emotionally, religiously, spiritually, where, yeah, if you're having a dark night of the soul and you're like, I don't even know if I believe in this stuff anymore, little reader, you're talking to cardboard. Yes, I am. We'll talk more about that later. But whatever it is you're going through, be with the raw materials of it. Accept reality exactly as it is, instead of trying to paint something new onto it. This week, that is what is happening. That is our Tower Tuesday, taking the raw materials and loving them more than they've ever been loved before. Accepting reality, as the Stoics would say, as if we chose it. Every single itty bitty bit, we're acting with it as if we chose it. And if we happen to not like it, we're changing it. By the time we get to the end of the week, this is actually probably happening a little sooner. Sunday comes back again. It's a theme, just as it was last week. By Sunday, you are going to be feeling all the colors. We have this interesting start with the rainbow, and we got some focus issues going on here. But we start out with this rainbow. We're getting a glimpse, right? Trapped in this... Let's see if I can pick it up. This rainbow is kind of trapped in this, what is that, would you say? I mean, it's a triangle, once again, in a yin downward facing direction. But I don't know what this, it's kind of like a dream catcher, sort of. The colors are trapped. By Sunday, they're exploding all over you, beautiful soul. And it almost looks like the inverted, like if you were inside of this looking out, is what we have now. We're outside looking in the beginning of the week. We're inside looking out at the end, and we're in perfect harmony. We are united with ourselves. We have embraced our raw materials, and we have said, I'm in love with me. I'm in love with myself. I'm one. I'm whole. I am complete. I require no social indexing. I require no painting of myself any particular way. You may go out not wearing, well, I was going to say not wearing makeup, not wearing clothes. I don't know if that's legal where you are, but go figure if it is. And where is that? Can you drop that down in the comments? You're going to go out natural is what I'm saying. There's this element of loving the raw and just leaning into, the lovely Carrie Fisher said something to the effect of, own your crazy. If you own your crazy, nobody can take it from you. And that's exactly what's happening this week. On this Tower Tuesday, we are taking the raw material, being with it in this receptive, passive way, not having to change, transmute, or get aggressive over anything. We're stepping into the divinity of all is exactly as it should be. And we're watching as life proves that to us. I also believe that for most of you, I'm going to say all of you, by Sunday, you're going to experience some kind of miracle or miraculous event or something unexpected that puts the proof in the pudding. Because this type of reading, this level of transformation, which is really the most heightened thing that we've seen since we started Tower Tuesday, is not just the little tickle that you get at the back of your neck that reminds you like, oh, I love the spirituality stuff. This is a Tower Tuesday where you see the world differently forever. We're saying goodbye to a perspective and a mental pattern that just kind of goes away. It's going to be evaporated into the void, disappeared into the ether. It's actually, It's here to go as opposed to here to stay. You're going to have this event where you have a conversation or a moment. It's either going to be you and yourself or you and someone else who gets it. I bet it's also especially going to be someone who you didn't think gets it, who's going to blow you away by getting it. You know why that is? Because maybe they got it a long time ago and we're just getting it now. And it's like that sometimes, you know, we don't vibe with people and we often believe that it's because we know more, but we just know different things. And when we have a Tower Tuesday like this, we see so much more than we did before, bigger picture stuff. And we realize that some of the beings that we might have judged in the past were seeing this all along. Truly a beautiful time. So that is our Tower Tuesday for the week, beautiful soul. It's been an absolute pleasure to read for you, always in the Little Reader's House. Thank you for being here. I am sending you all the love I've got. And until we meet again, beautiful soul, bye for now.